Hey, it's Pete. I wanted to welcome you to today's video. Recently, we had a really intense weekly coaching call. Every week, they're usually around 90 minutes. This week, we had a really amazing 20 minutes of pure trading gold, the kind of stuff that you just can't learn in a trading book. It's the stuff that I learned as a trader in New York City on the floor of my prop trading firm. And it's just the kind of stuff that you really need to know and want to know, and it makes the difference between just being a chart reader who's looking for patterns versus somebody who's actually getting in there and understanding how to make money and how to do it on a regular basis. Now, how to make money doesn't mean you make money on every trade, but it means if you do what you're supposed to do, and more importantly, have the right mindset, at the end of the month, if you have an edge and you allow the edge to do the hard work, that little piece in between, which is the mental part, which is how to manage yourself. We call it how to think like a pro and trade like a pro. That's what makes the difference between struggling and being there at the end of the month. So I'd like to invite you right now to watch this 25-minute segment of our private coaching call. I really think that you're going to enjoy it. And if you want to learn a little bit more about joining these coaching calls, click the link below the video. I'd love to see you on the other side. Have a great day, everyone. Enjoy it. Okay, everybody, we're going to get started. We're going to get right into it. Thank you so much for being here live on a Monday night. I know we all had a long day. To answer Henderson's question, was a little bit slow in the morning, picked up a little bit oddly in the middle of the day, but we've been doing a good job of very stock-specific trading, which is kind of cool to see. And I say kind of cool to see because if you're just going off of the indices right now, you're probably going crazy. I feel bad for anybody who's trading nothing but the E-minis right now. They ending up opening and closing in the same spot. And you can see even on Friday, we had a nice day on Friday, but we kind of went sideways for the better part of from 11 o'clock right until the close. This candle looks very deceiving. Everybody at home thinks, oh, you must have printed money today as a day trader, when really it went sideways for 5 hours. So it's interesting because I actually love being a stock trader. I've actually had periods where I did nothing but trade futures, and it sounds awesome where you don't have to do any homework and all of that kind of stuff. You're really just pretty much setting up levels you're going to trade around and which side. But that chart I just showed you of Friday is exactly why I don't trade nothing but futures, because you just kind of go sideways and you're basically shutting your business down for the entire day. And if you're not smart enough to recognize it, you tend to overtrade, you get chopped up, and you look back at 4 o'clock, you're like, what did I do? The market, it didn't even move. What just happened? So there's also more advantages that you can actually spread your ideas out with stocks in a way that you can't trading futures. So I love trading stocks. Obviously, we're stock trading pro, right? So anyway, it's Monday night, December 7th. I think that this month is going to fly. It's already the 7th. And I think that we're going to have some pretty good conversations tonight, because now we're actually getting a lot more into trade management questions, trade psychology questions, trading like a pro questions, which I think are the most important things, in my opinion, to have discussions about. Because I look, I can tell you, I joke around all the time that I have this monster library of trading books, but I'll tell you straight up, the way you learn how to trade is exactly what we're doing together every day, which is actually putting on trades, preparing to put on trades, and then having conversations while we're actually in the trades, and the trade management questions that we have during the day. And that's really where trading becomes more than chart reading. I think we've all been there where you learn to read charts and you're like, I don't understand. I know everything about chart reading, but I can't get paid. And what we do every day is the difference between the two. And I just want to call out Christopher Albert today in the afternoon, typed in some stuff. I think it was actually after the market closed, about his experience today and putting on a trade and the whole gamut of running all the emotions that you could think of. And Christopher, that's exactly what we want everybody to do. Get out of their comfort zone, not be afraid of judgment from everybody else in the community, and really understand that we're all here. There's enough money for all of us. Nobody here is going to make fun of anybody. And I think, honestly, I think even the opposite. I think that we have some amazing quality people in our community who will help Never mind, should you be afraid of calling something out? So I just want you to know how much I appreciated Chris calling the trades out, getting out of your comfort zone, and daring to learn. That's actually how the whole thing was built. I mean, a lot of people don't know my full background, but I didn't want to do this for years, because I only wanted to do it if it was done a certain way, which is we have an environment where everybody understands there's enough money for everybody, and we keep all the trolls out, which is very popular online as well. And Chris, I want to call you out because you've been very vocal about what you do know and what you don't know. And that is the right way to approach everything that we're doing together. So I just want you to know I'm proud of you for doing that, because that's what I hope happens in the community. Is you're here to learn what you don't know, and if you're not sure, you ask a question, and you admit if you don't know it, and that's the way to learn. That's the way to improve, and putting yourself out there. So I just want you to know what you did is awesome. So anyway, we're going to get right into everybody's questions today. I think we got a good mix. Again, we're getting deeper and deeper into trading stuff. We're getting beyond just the 5 minute candlesticks, and really taking it deeper into managing the trade. Should I be in the trade at all? All of that kind of stuff. So I just want to remind everybody just one more time, just make sure when you're typing into the chat, that you type to all panelists and all attendees. You choose that box all the way on the bottom next to where it says two, and just choose all panelists and all attendees so everybody can share. So we've got some good questions about trade management. So we're going to start out here with Henderson. I've heard of some trading gurus out there talk about not watching your P&L while trading intraday. What are your thoughts on that? Do you have your P&L up while trading? I watch mine quite a bit, and I think I'm doing reasonably okay, but at the same time, I can't help but wonder if I'm placing myself at a psychological disadvantage. So this is a great question. And I'm going to answer you, straight up, from a professional trader mindset, professional trader thought process. And I don't watch my P&L during the day. I think that might shock a few people, but I don't. I'm mostly concerned with where I am in that moment. Now, I'm not going to be naive enough to make it sound like I have no idea if I'm up or down for the day. Of course, I have a pretty good idea. I have a daily stop loss if I'm trading bad, like everybody should have, which is very common in the prop trading world, which is the world that I was in for years, where you would have a dollar amount that you were allowed to lose for the day, or they cut you off. Is really just the way to approach it. So when you have that mindset, when you're in that mindset at the end of the rope of a trade that one trade can put you out for the day, you're much more cognizant of it, because there's no going back. There's no, there's like, no, I'm not going to negotiate. You hit your stop loss, you're done for the day. However, trading during the day, okay, I think we can all probably agree that watching your P&L all day, every trade that you're in is not only bad for your heart, it's going up, it's going down, it's going up, it's going down, and it's good, it's bad, it's good, it's bad, and you're all over the place. This is where we kind of segue into trading multiple positions at once, where it's very common for me to have 3 to 5 to 10 positions on at the same time, and I'm managing the aggregate of those positions. So I guess what I want to come all the way back to, Henderson, and for everybody to really give you a visualization of why I don't watch my P&L all day. And again, in the context of, I definitely know where it is. I definitely have a pretty good idea of where it is. I definitely know my spider sense will tingle if I'm trading and I'm hitting that number that I don't want to hit, or getting close to it. I'm mostly focused on flawless trading. And I'm going to say this at the highest level, hoping that we all believe it, because some people won't, because they're not there yet. And that's really that I'm putting on a trade and I'm looking for the next trade. I'm putting on the trade, I'm looking for the next trade. I'm putting on a trade and I'm looking for the next trade. And I'm just cycling through my list. I'm cycling through my list. I'm cycling through my list, looking for the next trade. And I'm looking at the aggregate P&L of all of those open positions. And Joanne asked a question tonight about trading around a core position, or I'm sorry, somebody else did. Joanne asked a different question. Um, it was Brandon. Oh, actually, it's literally the next question. So that's a part of it. So if you can think during the day that you're an algorithm or you're a professional trader at the highest level who knows deep down, if I follow my plan, I'm getting paid. Now, of course, there's days where we don't come out on the upside where whatever reason, maybe you're trading bad, maybe you don't have a read on the market, maybe if it's a tough market, who knows? But let's just say on a normal day where we're not talking about the downside, we're talking about you're trading well. Your only job is flawless execution. Your only job is to constantly read the tape and determine if you should be adding to positions in that moment, if you should be taking profits in that moment. And I'm going to give you the ultimate, because I was really thinking deeply about this question, because it's a really good question. And I definitely think that some people wouldn't believe me if I told them I don't watch my P&L all day. There have been so many days, and I've made this comment a couple of times in the Slack channel. There have been so many trading days in my career where I'm so locked in on trading well that day that I have no idea if the market was up or down that day. God's honest truth. The God's honest truth. There are so many days where I am in such a zone where I am just trading from bell to bell. All I'm looking at is reading the tape, multiple time frames, what stocks I want to be short, what stocks I want to be a buyer of, when I want to be a buyer. If they trigger a buy, I just get in the shares, and it's a question of how many shares do I have? Okay, 15 minutes later, what is that stock doing? Okay, I'm still up on that one. But if I have 6 stocks and 5 are long, 1 is short, the aggregate of those, I'm up $1,200 in those positions. And then at the end of the day, I'm telling you, there are days, because you're so locked in on trading well, and Thomas just used the right word, trading flawlessly. When you're so focused in the moment of trading well based on bar by bar and tick by tick and above the open price, below the open price, the VIX is going up, the trend is going down, the ticks are going a certain direction, inside breakout on the 5-minute candle, you are just looking to trade in that moment. And that's why I don't look at my P&L, because I don't want to be influenced by whether or not I'm up or down on the day, but I'm experienced enough at this point to police myself if I'm not trading good. And first, I will lower all of my share size if I'm not trading well. So I won't stop trading, but I'll cut my share size by 2/3, which is something that everybody needs to learn how to do. And I know for inexperienced traders, especially coming into the community, that's a big deal, because a lot of people don't understand that professional traders just don't go in with full share size every trade. It's such a myopic view of trading and a misunderstood view of professional trading, where people coming in from the outside, they're like, oh, if you only had 1,000 shares on every trade, or if you only had 5,000 shares on every trade. That's not real trading. That's Fantasy Island, Mr. Rourke, and Tattoo. That is not real trading. So you're working positions all day. You're scaling in, scaling out. And again, the next question is about trading around a core position. But yes, Thomas, 100%. I think when you trade with a lot of confidence, you don't need to look at, as he says here. Everybody can read this in the chat here. I can see that you're executing flawlessly and make money consistently. Yeah. It really comes down to, look, I'm not afraid to lose money because I've proven I know how to make it. And I'm going to let that sink in for a second, because I actually mentioned this during the game plan meeting, and I mentioned it a few times in Slack, that new traders are scared out of their mind of losing trades or losing money or just losing trades in general. When you prove you have a track record, that's when, as again, Thomas worded it perfectly, executing flawlessly, and the mindset of what you're doing during the day. When you prove you could make money over time, and I'm not talking about Monday and Tuesday. I'm talking about January, February, and March. I'm talking you've made 3 months in a row, you made money. That's not luck. That is absolutely not luck. When you've made money over time, now you have in the back of your mind, losses don't matter if I follow my plan, I'm going to make money consistently. The only next thing I need to learn how to do is hold my winning trades longer so that I get past break even. Now that I've stopped losing money, now all I need to do is just trade and trade and trade and trade. And here's the thing though, so don't misquote this. Trade and trade and trade and trade as long as they're all good ideas, which you can only do that when you get out of that first part, which is you identify a great idea, and then you eventually fully understand what not to do. You know, it's funny. I actually, I think I told everybody we're going to be launching Futures Trading Pro soon. And I was having a conversation with the gentleman, Jeff, that we're going to be working with. And we were kind of having like this mentoring meeting where we were talking about like, what is the most important thing to you for people in the community to learn? And my answer was, I want you to know exactly what you're looking at, because I remember being the person sitting in a seminar. I remember the person sitting in Barnes and Nobles and sitting in front of a trading screen. And I'm like, if I just knew what to look at, I could follow it. So my number one goal, which is why I repeat over and over and over and over again, the core concepts of everything of what we do, none of the other stuff matters if we don't understand what a great trade looks like. None of it. Entries, trade management, none of that matters if we're not on the right side of what a good trade looks like. So in that context, when you're trading well, when you 100% have burnt your hand on the stove 1,000 times, when you say, stop doing that, that's what's not getting you paid. And you get to the other side where you execute your plan flawlessly. And again, I want to be clear. That doesn't mean I make money all the time. Nobody does. All right. Doesn't mean I make money all the time, but it means I trade like a professional, which means I trade purposefully and I know exactly what doesn't work and I know what does work, which is why I see the trade, place the trade, see the trade, place the trade, see the trade, place the trade. And that's because I've gone through all of the stages that everybody here is going through. And that's why I keep bringing it back to exactly what I talked about this morning and what David Huffman is putting in here right now about a business. I got to be honest with you. It is by far the best thing to have in your mind that if you own, let's say, you're an accountant, for example, doesn't even have to be, anything earth shattering, but let's say you go rent an office. You're brand new. You just got your CPA license. You rent an office. Your office is $1,000 a month. You have to pay the lights. Maybe you have to pay a secretary. You have to pay the phone bill and all of those things. The first couple of months, you have a certain amount of money put in your bank account. And you're like, okay, this is going to run. I'm going to run the business on the first couple of months. And then, month 2 is finishing. You have 1 month left of savings in the account. And now like, oh my gosh, do I pay the rent or do I pay my mortgage? You're like, all of a sudden those expenses are earth shattering. But if you forward through 3 months from that moment, and now your company's bringing in $10,000 a month and your total expenses are $3,000, you're just executing your business flawlessly. And I can't think of any other way to describe that better, that you don't get pissed off at the electric bill if your company's making money. And that's how you become a flawless trader, because you don't get pissed off at the losses. You're not afraid of the losses because your company knows how to make money. And the first thing you have to do is know what to look at. The second thing you have to know is how to find a good idea from what to look at. Then it comes down to you have to eventually believe that the edge works, which is why I am a huge advocate of you have to take every single trade to prove to yourself that the edge works over time. It doesn't need to be trade by trade by trade. Watching trade by trade by trade results will drive you bananas, absolutely bananas. I am telling you, every single person on this call right now, whether it's two stocks at the same time or 10 stocks at the same time, let's just stick with 2 because that's realistic for everybody. You will have an earth-shattering epiphany when you learn that trading 2 stocks is easier than trading 1 stock. And I know it sounds like you got to get out of your comfort zone, and it sounds easy because I'm doing it for 20 years. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. It was hard for me too. Absolutely was hard for me too. But once I learned and actually sat next to traders early in my career who were doing 7 figures reliably, 3 million, 5 million, to this day are still doing those numbers. They weren't in one position watching every tick go up and down. They were doing exactly what Henderson asked here in the first question, which is they were just trading all day. And I tell the story about somebody I traded with a few years ago. And the first time, this was the first real big trader that I traded around. And I sat next to him, and I'm telling you, This guy had on probably 20 to 25 positions at once, and that's no joke. And I swear on my mother, this is real numbers. He was up $250,000. 20 minutes later, he was up 125,000. Then he was up 175. Then he was only up 50. Then his account went negative. This I'm talking about all within an hour. And then it went back up to 250,000. And then, you know, that's trading in the moment. You're trading as a professional to trade well. So I don't want to underscore the phases of trading that we go through. I honestly believe that I'm very good at walking all traders of all experience levels to the next level. But the only reason I can do that is because I've gone through them myself and I've taught this for years. I love mentoring. I honestly do. I love to see the light bulb go on. I love to celebrate your success. The only thing I don't love is excuses. I don't. Look, it's hard for everybody. If you want to have unlimited upside, you got to put on your overalls. There's no other way to put it. You know, we're all here. We're behind the curtain. We can have honest conversations. But everybody has advantages and disadvantages. And you know, I mean, it is what it is. I didn't have any contacts when I first started. And you don't need them, quite honestly. All you need is the desire to improve on every single trade. So Henderson, you know, it's weird. It's kind of weird. Like every week, the first question really like I study it and I'm like, I want this to really be a deep meaning to the answer. And it really comes down to that's how professionals trade at the highest level. We're not watching the P&L. We're focusing on trading well moment to moment. And you personally will know you got to that point when at the end of the day, you're exhausted, you're wiped out, and you say, I have no idea if the market was up or down today. I just know that I traded my ass off today. That's the point you want to get to. That's the stage you want to get to, because that means you belong. That means you belong because you really know what the heck you're doing. So great question, Henderson. And I'll get into that as more depth as I possibly can during the day. But man, it's where you want to get to. It's higher levels of trading. I tell you, I remember when I watched that guy trade, I remember there sitting there to myself saying, like, he just lost a house. I was like, he just lost, I'm like $250,000. He just lost a house. What is he doing? You know, and then like at the end of the week, he's up, you know, $400,000 at the end of the week. You know, and those are real numbers. I mean, I saw them myself. I sat next to him. I traded next to him. I know he's a multi-seven-figure person. So I'm not even exaggerating on that point. So anyway, that's what I want to keep imparting to everybody. Even if you're not trading full time, you could still consider yourself a professional. And that means you're trading purposefully. That means that every day you're striving to improve. And when you see every trade as a tool to improve, every trade as an opportunity, or every question you ask, like Chris did today, and some stuff that Chris said about his learning process, that's all opportunities to improve. And that's the only way to shorten your learning curve. And look, I'm going to tell you, I speak to a lot of people and they're like, well, I try and figure it out on my own. I'm like, okay, go ahead. Come back in a year from now when you wasted a year, didn't make a dime, and you're going to tell me, well, it didn't cost me a dime. And I'm going to say, yes, it did. You can go get a job at Walmart for $3,000 a month. No doubt about it. You just spent 12 months trying to learn how to trade. You made zero. So that means at a minimum, that just cost you 36 grand to not learn how to trade when you could have spent 295, get behind the curtain and be involved in this amazing community. I'm telling you, it's expensive and long to learn on your own. My number one goal for everybody is to first teach you what not to do, drill into your head what not to do. So then we get to the other side and we start having conversations about how to manage winning trades. That's when I know the community is really starting to become a mature community, because now we're not having conversations about, did you buy 1 cent above the inside 5-minute candle, or did you wait for 2 cents? Like, we're not having those conversations, because the community is understanding the most important part is, are they good ideas, and is now still have reward enough to take the risk. And that excites the heck out of me. Look, we're all here 6:30 at night on a Monday because we care that much. You know, there's a lot of people not here right now. There's a lot of people who are not here. I'm not going to label it. They're not here. So, you know, I just love the fact that everybody who's on this call right now has that much passion and really, really wants to do this. So, so let's see. Jeff adds, hope you don't mind me jumping in here. Of course not. I check mine during the day because when it turns positive, I can feel myself relax a little bit. Once I get more professional, I'll probably stop doing it. I want to touch on this part here that Jeff put in here because it's kind of important. And I don't know if everybody has actually kind of like felt me doing this during the day. And I know Thomas. I want to make sure I say your last name right. Consigli. There was a trade that we were looking at probably a month or two ago, and it was within the first 15 minutes of the day. And it quickly moved like $3 in our favor. It might have been a trade in Roku. I don't remember exactly, but it might have been Roku or JKS. I don't remember exactly. But it was a day the stock had like a massive, massive day. But within like the first 20 minutes, it exploded. We nailed the entry, and I'm like, all right, I'm scaling out here. And you had asked me why. And I'm basically answering why now, later, even though I answered it that day, in the context of Jeff's point here about when it turns positive, I can feel myself relax a little bit. I will tell you, whether it's subconsciously or not, that first half hour of the day, I am mostly trying to get a head start for the rest of the day.